So my name is Laura Sexton. I trained at A Training, and this is a podcast with Chris Wade.
Hi Laura, how are you doing?
All good, thank you.
Good. Well, I'm presently sat in my bedroom. It's very hot and it's been a beautiful day today. And I have a new little doggy. I have Arnie, a new Doberman that I received yesterday after 11 weeks. So I've had a fun night and a fun day, and it's all really exciting for new daddy. So I'm looking forward to this podcast.
You've taken some time out from the dog duty.
Yes, I have. And my nieces are presently making sure that he doesn't do anything that he shouldn't do on my lovely carpet.
Amazing. So I think we decided we were going to do a podcast. It's going to be a sort of discussion between us about the future of aesthetics.
Yeah, I think, it's really important that out there people understand and have an informed choice. I'm sort of CEO of A Training, that previously was A UK Training, and the reason why we sort of changed from A UK to A Training was now that we offer international qualifications. But the main aim for me from this is really to not sell our qualifications. It's just to help people understand the difference between what is a qualification and what's not a qualification, what training's available and out there, and really to get that informed choice and understanding so that when they commit and pay their hard-earned money, that they understand what they're paying for and what they're getting. I think my main sort of talk was always, when I first went into this, I was greatly impressed that I could train as a non-medic, but unfortunately my training wasn't that amazing. And having gone on and spent many thousands and thousands more and done lots of training, some incredible and some not so good, I think it's really important that when you spend your money, you do understand what you're getting.
Absolutely, and I think from a learner's point of view, I think it will be useful for us to discuss all of this, because there's so much information out there, so many different courses going on, and it is hard to know which course is right for me. If I want to achieve this, what's the best way for me to get there? Which hopefully we're going to answer the questions.
Absolutely. Well, I think it all stems from, a qualification means that it has been set under parameter and standards by an AO, an awarding organisation. And the qualification has to follow a certain format, and as in an international qualification with Qualify. So we now are under the awarding body Qualify with an I, Qualifi, because we always kind of get a little bit of bad press by saying we spelt the word qualify wrong. So it's an international awarding body, but we have worked with other awarding organisations like VTCT, City and Guilds, and other awarding organisations. So there's lots of awarding bodies, but there are also lots of other courses that are just not with an awarding body, so they haven't followed the qualifications remit. They haven't actually been put together as a qualification with the scheme of work. They're not done in a centre that's got centre approval. They're not taught by teachers who have got full qualifications in teaching. So again, there is a regulatory body called Ofqual, and Ofqual is really the government's way of regulating awarding organisations and qualifications out there to make sure that they follow a certain set standard.
So when people are saying, this is insurance approved,
there are many now new insurance brokers coming onto the field of aesthetics. When I first kind of trained, there was only really probably one, if not two. Over the last sort of 4 years, there have become much more availability of brokers, but their brokers are just selling insurance, and behind them generally it's the same kind of insurance company that you're going to be signing up to. So your certificate may gain insurance, but the main thing is that, you know, if you were to have a claim, that claim would be validated and your training would be validated. And I think that comes down to a level of where a qualification stands you in good stead, because you've followed a criteria, a credit leveling, and you have followed a standard where you've gained a certificate, and that certificate will give you that ability to know that you've reached that standard.
A-Training is offering a level 5 and a level 7 qualification now. I think the questions people might have are, do I need to do this? Is there a panic on that I'm going to lose the ability to practice as an aesthetic practitioner? What does this mean for me practicing in industry?
Absolutely not. I think what I have set about to do with these qualifications, and it's taken 7 years, we were stalled with another awarding organisation before moving across to qualify, because I wouldn't change my real need to do this correctly. And I think that, you know, as a non-medic and a medic qualification, as the qualifications are, I want to really bring us together. I want us to align. I'm not fighting against this corner or that corner. I just feel that the level playing field is everyone doing a standard where those standards have been written by people from both sides, from medic and non-medical background, and an input from all levels that's regulated, so that, you know, you doing this qualification are future-proofing your career, because you're standardizing and making sure that you have done the best that you can do and achieved the best that you can presently, and the qualification will continually improve. And I'm a great believer in ongoing training, CPD, but CPD, continual professional development, is not a qualification. It's a form of credit for hours of training. And, you know, all training really with relevance can have the CPD kind of kite mark, but it doesn't mean to say that it's part of an awarding organisation or it is a qualification. But going back to your original question, do the people out there listening to this need to do this qualification? No, they don't. But if I was to switch and say, if I was out there and as a non-medic, I was wanting to future-proof my career and really be proud at the end of this to wear a cap and gown and to do a postgraduate, which is what the level 7 is, as a merit leveling. And, you know, that progression really makes you not only know that you've deserved achieving that standard and you've worked for it and you have a thorough underpinning knowledge and you've done all of the relevant practical and you've passed and you've done the assignments and you've got all of the knowledge, you really very much can present that as your business. And if you look at other industries, other sectors, they all really standardize through qualifications. You know, the unfortunate thing about the industry that we're in, we're not beauty. It's, you know, it's not medical, it's aesthetic practitioner. And I'm very clear is that, you know, I would like us to adopt as the aesthetic practitioner. I believe that we all should hold a card reference register where we are registered with a form of card, with an ID card, where we then will be able to be on a register and seeing that we're a non-medic, yes, but we have achieved these qualifications and we have a set standard and we're working with clinical oversight in practice in a clinical environment. But going back to your question, do they need to do this qualification? No. At present, there is no legislation, there is no law, and it's probably unlikely that there ever will be. But I think that if we're not careful, especially with the courses and the way that things are moving, I would say that I would want to do the qualification to set my standard and set myself a goal to be on the right side of the fence.
Yeah. So it is a personal choice. And I think the main thing is you make your own choice in life. But in order to be the best you can be, to put yourself up there with the best in this world, it is a great qualification to have.
Yeah, and I also have done this qualification and written this qualification along with other people and put this here to open up and share. There are great training schools, great non-medical training schools, great trainers out there. I know lots of them, and great medical aesthetic training schools. And, you know, I want to share this qualification on both sides, medic and non-medic, as one. I want to open satellite centres. I want to, you know, align. But unfortunately, having sat around the table many, many times with the beauty part, there are so many different organisations out there. And unfortunately, the main focus is to be first. You know, there's lots of hype out there saying, oh, you know, there isn't a level 7 qualification for non-medics. Well, there is.
Well, there is, yeah.
It's sat there on Qualify's website, and we'll send you a link, and you'll see the link. And the reason why a lot of people out there who would have liked to have been the first to gain the level 7 qualification are trying to say that there isn't. It's all really about ego and being the first, and, you know, our company's the only one that does it. Well, you know, I'm sure that our company won't be the only company, and I want to share this with other companies. You know, if there are training schools out there that want to offer this level 7, or, you know, people want to achieve it, there are going to be many options. I don't see this as a monopoly for a training. You know, my kind of championing and my purpose and my whole goal was to allow us all to be treated as equal. And that was my main focus. And I knew that, you know, the only way to do that was through qualifications, because if you look at all other sectors and other industries, that's how they do it. You know, however many people won't sit around the table, won't join, have their own argument, you know, too many egos in the room. They want to be first. I want to be first. I want to be the number one. I want to do this. And, you know, I do not have any time for any sort of political, social media kind of hoo-ha. I just want us all to have a very equal focus on being able to achieve this high standard and then future-proof your career.
And that's ultimately what it is. It's a standardised qualification where skills are reaching a certain standard, knowledge is reaching a certain standard, so that can only make things better.
Yeah, and it's regulated by Ofqual, and those standards are constantly checked, they're constantly reviewed and improved, cross-matched, you know, and they will continue to have that remit. You know, that's why they will continue to grow, and they will be purposeful for industry, and they will match industry.
So will you still be offering other courses?
Yeah, we've spent this time in lockdown now, and all of our courses will now go through Qualify as an endorsed award. So all our advanced courses now, we will not issue an in-house certificate. It will all be done via Qualify. So each student will be registered under an awarding organisation, Qualify, and they will receive their certificate. So that means that each you know, kind of training has gone a scheme of works, got a unique level credit as an endorsed award. So that's exciting, because again, all of the hoo-ha that was going off in the forums about CPD and this qualification, that qualification, unfortunately, if we look at semi-permanent makeup, for example, semi-permanent makeup and what's happened there is so many schools, when kind of microblading came out, and, you know, someone trained, and then 3 months later they set up their own training school, and this has kind of taken the industry down to a degree. Well, if we're not careful, if we look at how many training schools are opening up in in hotel rooms and all over the place, really, the price is the main lead. And for a lot of people who maybe can't afford to get their first step on the ladder into aesthetics, it may be very enticing to see that you can do a 1 day or a half-day course in dermal filler lips augmentation. However, as we all know, you included, Laura, you cannot achieve safety. These courses, should not be out there, but if you're paying your good money to do these courses, really, that certificate is really not going to put you in good stead to be able to achieve, from my understanding, a future-proof career.
And I would agree with that, in that I think it's about, ultimately, knowledge is power, and this isn't something, I don't believe, you can think, oh, right, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go and do a few sets of lips, and that will do. This should be a career. This is the start of a future, a new life. And I think in terms of standardizing everything, I think it's brilliant. And I think, as this industry isn't regulated, this gives a high standard. And when you can say, oh, I'm level 5, level 7 as a nationally recognized qualification, that is transferable.
And it's robust, and also, it's something that you can go on to a website and you can check it out with Ofqual. Your qualification can be checked. Your clients can check it. You can be very proud at putting it out there. You can, wave the flag for your sector, and you will gain this qualification through hard work. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that you're just going to automatically get a signature on a certificate on a piece of paper on an in-house certificate. It is very, very robust. I mean, I'm presently just coming to the end of my assignments and about to move into my level 7, and getting ready to do my endpoint assessment, which I've had to do it like everybody else, and it's not easy.
It's hard, yeah.
Absolutely.
But then, the pride of being able to say, do you know what, that's what I achieved.
Yeah. And it's, trends change. Russian lips come, and Russian lips, progressing to the next thing. But at the end of the day, if you understand the anatomy, if you understand how dermal fillers hyaluronic acid works, if you understand the shape, the architecture, if you understand, the blood structure, the nervous system, all of the above, if you understand what can go wrong, complications, if you, if you have all of that thorough underpinning knowledge, and the morphology, the skin, also looking at, regulation towards, the mental health of the client, and the perspective of all of that, taking into consideration everything of the consultation, the cooling off period, everything is really, really important. And all of that cannot be learned in a few hours.
Yeah.
It's ongoing. Our course is, very much, a minimum 6 months to 12 months to do your level 7, 6 months to do your level 5, and then you progress to your level 7. And a lot of people say, well, why is there no level 6? Well, the level kind of 6 is involved in the level 7, and the unit credits are in there. So, that's why there's a bridge, level 5, and then that's the progression, the prerequisite into the level 7.
In terms of, if I was just starting out and I hadn't any idea, I wanted to do this as a career, I wanted to achieve, and what would be the best way for me to become an aesthetic practitioner?
What we'd first and foremost do is get you to fill out a CV now. So we'd look at your background, we'd look at your knowledge, we'd look at where you sit and whether you're coming from a beauty background or a non-beauty background. It used to be that you were only accepted as a non-medic if you came in and you did your beauty level 2, level 3. Obviously that's changed, which I agree. But at the same time, you can't just do an online anatomy and physiology course to give you, I believe you shouldn't be able to give you access to go into doing, aesthetics. So the progression, what we have is access practitioner. So access practitioner is really for someone who hasn't got any underpinning knowledge of beauty. And this really is their entry pathway into, as an award, as an endorsed award with Qualify. And this gives them the underpinning knowledge, the skin, the anatomy, and also the facial credits to work through towards then moving on to the level 4. So as a level 4 qualification, then we would move forward. You can have micropigmentation, you can have laser, so you would need to have a level 4 qualification, and then that would lead you to the level 5 qualification, which is the aesthetic medicine.
Okay, so what would be the time frame?
I think you would need to be looking at, if you set aside at least sort of 6 to 12 weeks for each one of those qualifications. It's all determined about the amount of time element that you can put into this at home as pre-study and work with the qualification and the practicals and the assessment and working on the practice. So I would say really to achieve you'd be looking at each qualification as a minimum of kind of 3 months. So we say from beginning to end, if you've no experience, you'll be looking at around about 1 year and 1 day as a minimum investment of your time practice. So you be coming to our kind of training centre in Grantham for a year on and off with support. And obviously you'd have home study, pre-study, online work, and then your practical levels and your assessments. So you'd be really doing around about 40 to 48 days over a 12-month period.
Okay, so in terms of RPM, so recognising prior learning, so this is a thought for people who have already done some training with A-training and now they want to do the level 5 and level 7. So, I mean, I think a concern might be, well, I've already done this and, this is what I'm doing now. So would you explain what RPL is and how it works in terms of accessing the level 5 and 7?
Yeah, so myself, I'd done lots of industry certificates. I'd done microneedling, I'd done peels, etc. But doing a qualification is different to doing a kind of industry certificate, or maybe you've done with another awarding body, which is great. And then what we can do is I can match those credit in those units across, which we do, and then you may not have to do the assignments, or you may not have to do the practical, or you may actually just gain the certificate, with recognised prior learning. So very much it's bespoke. It's all done on a personal kind of review level. So we look at each individual, and obviously that's determined in the price of the course as well. So the full price is if you need to do the full course, which presently for level 5 is 1995. But if you've been a past student of a UK training, then obviously it will be a reduced price where you just have to maybe do the assignments, or you might do the endpoint assessment, where if you've already got the skill set, you don't need to do the practical, you just come in and you, alongside an external verifier, will look at your skill set and make sure that you're of standard to pass.
Okay, so people can contact you, and it's worked on an individual basis.
Absolutely.
With what they've done before, with everything that they can put towards the final qualification.
Yeah, and I think the main confusion was the awarding body that we were prior to qualify. The reason why we decided to leave that awarding body, and funny enough, they have gone into administration, and the new awarding body that's taken them over has decided that they're not going to do the level 7 for medics, which has kind of been out in the press recently, and I've been sent that a few times in the last few days. So very interestingly, the reason why we decided that we would not continue with that awarding organisation was that they wanted to make all of the students go through each one of the qualifications and do them totally. And from a cost point of view, our students that had achieved would have needed to spend, maybe 10, 15,000 even qualifications that they had already done, they'd already achieved. And these, skin rejuvenation qualifications really weren't fit for purpose. So that's why we kind of lost a lot of money and a lot of time, but chose to move to a new awarding organisation, rewrite all of the qualifications, and come back with a level 5 and a level 7. And then with recognised prior learning, some parts of the qualification could already be determined by recognised prior learning. So again, as you said, Laura, it's all an individual basis. It's a little bit drawn out and long because you have got to kind of upload all your certificates and your CV, and we have got to cross map it. But again, that's the quality. That's, because it is regulated by Ofqual, because it's standardised, and therefore that's why it is a qualification, and that's why it works. It's not just a signature, it's not just a date, it's not just a printed certificate, it's validated. And that's what makes it future-proof. And your clients can confidently come to you, your insurance brokers, your insurance companies won't hesitate in giving you insurance.
This stands it out and makes you stand out above everyone else because it is at such a level that you will have to work towards. So even if you've done every single part of the modules for it, practically, you will need to do extra assignments.
Yeah, and you'd have to do an endpoint assessment where an external verifier will come in from Qualify and mark you, because it's no good, someone from a training ticking you off, because that would just mean that, we could just tick everyone off. We could just give everyone a certificate and charge everyone. And that's the reason why we want to go for the qualification and why we've chosen to do this. It's much harder for us, and it's much more work, much more money, a lot more expensive for us as a training school, and we're making a lot less profit. But it's something that we feel for the future is going to set the standard, and this is a direction that I want to go in, and this is a direction that I believe the industry needs to go in, and it's something that I want to share with other training companies and other people out there as well. It's not something that I feel that is just a training's capable of doing.
So lockdown.
Yes.
Let's talk about lockdown.
Yes.
What have you been doing, Chris?
Well, all of our courses, as I said, have now become either a qualification or an endorsed award from Qualify. So a lot of time's been spent on that. We're launching new websites. I've got a new training room, and we've been working really hard to really look at the future. I think we've all had an opportunity, whether we like it or not, to take a step back, to look at our timeline, look at our future. I can only speak for me, but of my age, 52 coming up, it's allowed me for the first time since I've been sort of 16 to have so much time to evaluate my life. Where am I going? What am I doing? What's my gaps? What's my personal life? How I think there's two types of people that are going to come out from this. They're going to come out from this, and they're going to see that this has been the best kind of experience personally for them. And that's nothing to say that I'm not here speaking about the tragedy, the unfortunate things that's been happening out there. This is nothing to do with COVID-19. I'm in no way, not having any feeling towards all of those people, but I'm just specifically talking about having an opportunity in life to step off, the pathway and to look at your future. And for me personally, I've very much taken stock. I've reviewed, looked at my gaps of where my own personal education, where I want to fulfill and I want to make my strengths and do training, and where I want to go with the business, and what I want to do with a training is an international training school, and really evaluate the people that you've got in and around you, both from a work perspective, your colleagues, and also from friendship levels. I think lots of changes may have happened. It makes you evaluate lots of things. What about you, Laura?
Yeah, I think I've really enjoyed isn't the right word, but I feel like for a long time I've been on a hamster wheel of I've got to do this at this time, I've got to do this, and then I've got to be there, and then I've got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think taking some time out has been wonderful for me personally and work-wise. It's given me that extra push to make everything how I want it to be. Yes, it's been hard not working, of course. We're all feeling it. But I think you either take it as best you can and put positive spin on it, or when are we going to get this time back? We're not, are we?
No, and I mean, the government are telling us that July the 4th for our sector, phase 3 is the goal kind of date, and it may change depending on what happens that then. I think we all have to be respectful. I mean, people ask me saying, when should we open, when should we not open? It's taking government directive, and I think it's being, following everything that we do and making it the best that it can be, taking it to the level of, we all follow our PPE, and, we should all follow our hygiene, but it is following, the measures that are being put in place, and making those measures and working together, highlighting how we can all come together and help each other. And I think that's one of the great things that I see that's coming from this. And I do believe that, like anything in life, those businesses will thrive that have been given the ability to step back, chop back, and look and reevaluate and become back stronger, better, and bigger. And I do think that's what will happen. And I do think there is a great future for the aesthetics industry. But I do think we do need to all come together and change, and look at the standards and look at what we're doing, and really improve on those standards, because there is a lot going on out there that really is not good for our industry.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think that we all make choices. We all make choices as to what we do in life, where we're going with our lives, and if people, I think this podcast has been great because it's actually answered the questions which I know a lot of people have got in terms of where aesthetics is going. I mean, everybody can have a theory, everyone can have a hypothesis over where the industry is going, but it's in fact shaped by all of us. The bad training out there that almost brings the standards down. It's about raising the bar, surely.
Definitely. I think it's about raising the bar, and I think it's a personal standard that you're going to set for yourself. In all industries, there are always going to be cowboys, there are always going to be rogue people in everything and everywhere that's out there. But I do feel that it all comes back to a thorough, solid qualification that's regulated, and that qualification regulated, for example, by Ofqual, sets the standard, and then really gets the merit and the underpinning knowledge. And I do think, the future is great for the aesthetics industry, and I do think it will become stronger, but I do think we have got to be part of that change. And I know myself personally that I love everything that I do within this industry, and I will only champion each and every one of the people out there, medics, non-medics, and I've got some great people that work with me, and I've got some great people that work alongside me, and I've got some amazing people that I look up to that are much more knowledgeable than me and that can do much better treatments than me, and I will always strive to become better. And I think that's the great thing, really, is taking your time and taking this time to look at what's going on out there and look at how you can improve, how you can become better. Don't see it as competition. I never, ever, ever see anybody as competition. I always like to learn. I always like to surround myself by people that are better than me. And whilst I always want to better myself, I never feel that I am better than anybody else, but I always want to become better. And I think that's the kind of the ethos, really, is really just push yourself and use this time to positively, evaluate, your strengths, your weaknesses of your business. Spend time to maybe look at your branding, look at your pricing, look at your packages, look at your structure, look at your interior, look at how you can change it, maybe lose some treatments that are maybe not working for you. Which direction do you want to go in? It's a great time to evaluate.
Absolutely.
So I think my little dog is now ready for his food.
What does he have for tea?
He's on this little dry food that I must say doesn't smell very nice, and at the other end it doesn't smell very nice at the minute as well. But it's all part of becoming a daddy.
And it's wonderful.
He's gorgeous.
Fabulous.
So I look forward to seeing all the students soon. July looks like it could happen, so fingers crossed. And if it doesn't, let's all keep positive. Let's all get moving forward. And if anybody wants to know any more information about anything that we've discussed, there'll be some links for you to contact us. And hopefully we've answered all of the questions that people put in. And if we haven't, we will do a new podcast soon.
Wonderful. Well, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.